Hey, what's up, YouTube? Well, I'd like to try something a little different today. Because the sun is so bright at this time in the morning, it is the absolute worst time to make a video. And the other thing I would like to try is this microphone. Because for some reason, I'm just having problems with my voice today. It isn't changing. I'm not on testosterone and probably never will be. But for some reason, for many years, I've just had a voice that when it gets too tired, it feels like the notes are split in half. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It's like it gets real gravelly, like, I don't know. It's just, in the morning, it's really bad. And if I talk a lot on the phone to my mom, it can really wear my throat out. So, anyway, another thing I have is chronic allergies. So, if I sound like I'm always sniffling or whatnot, it's because I just have chronic sinus allergies, and this apartment doesn't help with the carpet and the stuff that I shake on the carpet to clean it. It doesn't really help. So, anyway, we'll see if this microphone helps project my voice a little better. And we'll see if this new setup will help keep the sun from making me into a silhouette. Okay, well, this first video I would like to make today, I want it to be called 5 years post-op, because I would just like to document, as I did a year ago, the fact that my hysterectomy was April 12th, 2016, and I wish I could have been on YouTube, but of course that was impossible. And, I just wanted to document the fact that 5 years ago today, I had my hysterectomy, and it ended 21 years of miserable menstrual periods that never should have happened. And it always, like, I went through the procedure, and yes, the physical pain was horrible at times, but for the most part, I like the result. And it feels like this is how it should have always been. I just feel like the only thing better than a complete hysterectomy would be to have never been born with a uterus in the first place. And that's why, I don't care who likes it, but, even if I could be reborn as a black man, as opposed to being a white female, I would totally trade bodies, especially with a strong, healthy black man like Michael Jordan or Shaquille O'Neal. I would be totally happy with that, because the only thing better than to have a complete hysterectomy, which I'm not going to show you my scars like a lot of F to M's would, is to have simply never had a uterus. I just wish I had never had a uterus. I've never wanted a child. I never will want a child, unlike what everyone has told me. I'll change my mind someday and somehow think that, having a baby poop in a diaper, for over 3 years if it's a boy, and don't give me that elimination communication crap, because no one would support me in trying that. But basically, not only, are people okay with changing diapers for 3 years, that somehow I should be okay with possibly sacrificing my own control over my very own bodily functions. In a world where women are the ones that are shamed for farting, I'm supposed to be okay with something that would make it harder to hold in a fart. So, now I'm glad I had my hysterectomy, and like I say, I'm also glad that I'm virginal and I've never had a boyfriend and will never have a child, because I just feel like, that, like, just looking at my own parents, I mean, even a 1% chance of a divorce makes me not want to have a baby in common with a man that might later on divorce me. And my parents were an unusual case in that my dad filed for divorce, and it makes me so angry, because it's like, I don't see where it was warranted. Like, I don't see where my mom was making it impossible for him to live with her. I just don't. I would go back and live with her in a heartbeat. And the worst thing about my hysterectomy, other than the physical pain, was just the fact that my mom couldn't be here for a number of reasons. She just couldn't come over here, and she had no place to stay. My dad was not going to allow her to stay in his dumpy apartment um, knowing how she'd probably get angry and just ransack everything and just be so angry, about the fact that he chose this life over the life they had together, which was a lot better in my mind and hers. So, there was no way for her to be there and support me through that. And, she had a number of reasons she couldn't be there. And, other than the physical pain, I just felt drained, like that feeling of apathy is the only way to describe it. When you can't force yourself, you just can't force yourself to care about anything except the toilet. Basically using the bathroom is what my whole life evolved around. That was the only thing I really cared about in that state. And it's like, I just feel like my energy level was drained. I didn't really have a high energy level beforehand, but as I was recovering from that surgery, it's like I just couldn't, I just had no energy whatsoever. Not only could I not lift things, and I still am impaired. I have to remind my father, that I may dress and act like a guy, but I can't lift on things like a guy would. I get so mad at him when he doesn't just instinctively pick up the heavier bag of groceries and let me have the lightweight paper towels. You know what I'm saying? He'll let me lift on the 9-pound 12-pack of drinks or whatever, as opposed to carrying that and then letting me carry the paper towels. So, I've really had to, make adjustments I never really did do a lot of heavy lifting, but I had to get myself a little grocery cart like my grandma had, which he stupidly got rid of after she died. A little personal grocery cart to put your groceries, bring it to your car, put your groceries in it, and then roll it to your apartment. I'm not going to be, straining my insides, trying to lift on things, my abdomen. So yeah, I still have some effects of it. I'm not 100%. I always have scar tissue there. It'll never be the same as it was before. But considering the heavy periods that I had before, that's actually a good thing. So, I'm 5 years post-op. I'm not on testosterone, which, I asked them, because I was having blood clots in my leg. I actually had to get an IVC filter so that I wouldn't have a stroke. And that was another complication, because they put me on a birth control pill to try to make my periods lighter, which didn't work, and that caused me to have blood clots in my leg. And I could have died if they hadn't put me on a blood thinner with an IVC filter. Okay, and they told me that I wouldn't be able to do any form of hormone therapy as a result of this tendency to have blood clots. And, of course, I would never want to be on estrogen, even if it would improve my health somehow, because I just don't identify with that hormone, and I don't want to have any more of it in my body than I just naturally am going to have. But I asked her, the nurse, I said, well, does that mean I could never get on testosterone? I'm like, would that cause a blood clot? She's like, yes, both of them would cause a blood clot. So even if I did have the support of my family, and even if I didn't mind losing my hair, just the mere fact that I could have a blood clot as a result of getting on T is enough to preclude any thoughts of getting on it. So, but just think about it. Let's say I would have gotten on testosterone. Let's just say a year, when I was let's say 2017, when I was 1 year post-op. If I'd have gotten on testosterone, I would not sound like the same person whatsoever. It's bad enough on 4chan with all these people that want to believe that I'm a guy, but no one would ever believe that I am in fact a female if I had gotten on testosterone within a year of my hysterectomy. My voice would just be totally different. I don't know if I'd still need a microphone, but it would not be this little childlike, scratchy voice that I have. And I also feel like, I've gotten more facial hair. I always had to pluck my chin, but I feel like since I got my hysterectomy, I'm having more facial hair and I'm having to shave more often. And I feel like my voice has only gotten worse, but that could just be that I talk too much and that my voice is just not able to deal with the amount that I talk and the volume at which I talk. So anyway, I love being 5 years post-op hysterectomy, and never have I wanted to have a child.